Okay, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, 4K. Just did a review on Reddit for it. Well, let's just go to the scores first. It's a lot simpler. 5 video, 5 audio. Excellent. Just a great disc. Fun movie too. Really, really good. Just a few highlights. The first thing I said, stunning. This movie is just absolutely stunning. The colours. I've always been wanting a HDR test disc, just to see bright things, colourful things. You know, typically my love for movies is, movies shot on film with film grain. Getting the best transfers to see if you can resolve grain. This is digital animation, and when you go digital, I want to maximize that format. I don't particularly care when you go digital about trying to make your stuff look like film, like with adding film grain and things like that. I don't care for that. When you go digital, use as much of the format of whatever you're using to your benefit. Movie like this, an animated movie, thankfully they didn't add film grain. I've seen animation before adding film grain, and I just don't think it looks good. There's no need for that. With animation, I want bright and colourful, and this is basically what we got. The HDR is insanely bright, colourful. It's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a movie on 4K showcase HDR in this way, showcase colours in this way. It's so incredibly good. I just mentioned here, like back in the old days with DVD, I used to buy animated movies specifically because I knew they used to look good on DVD. Animation always looked good on DVD. Movies was honestly back then a struggle for it to look really, really good. But animation, because it was simpler, the textures were simple. It was really easy to get. I mean, I I bought some interesting stuff just to see how good DVD could actually look. But I used to do that back in the day. Animated always used to look best. Then when we switched to Blu-ray, they got better at film. So much so that I think film actually took over animation in terms of quality. They got it so good, and on 4K there was really, for me, 100%. Film always looked better than digital, and even digital movies looked better than animation. This rewrites that for me. You can say the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, that definitely upped the game with animation for sure. And I'm really talking showcase stuff here, bright stuff. Coraline is an excellent transfer, but it's not in this. It doesn't have this color scheme. A lot of the colors are drab on that movie. Great looking disc, but this really showcases everything that you want to look for in HDR. If you want to demo something and show it off to your neighbors, or you put it in a Best Buy showroom, this is the title that you want to show off. Colors are absolutely gorgeous. There's no bit depth errors, light fades and things like that. There's nothing. Excellent. And it mixes the old animation and modern animation together. I have a few screenshots explaining that. And again, it looked as almost like banding and strange color fades, but it's actually due to the style of the animation, which I really love. It doesn't quite feel as sharp as I guess what I'm used to is film content with a 4K DI, that pin sharp, but still good, lots of detail. It's fine. That was my only thing I did see. The audio is excellent. One thing to note though, I consider it 4 dB below reference. That means I'm just using a Denon receiver as a way of understanding volume here. I listen to movies at -10, so if I have to increase my volume by 4, it's now -6. Right, that's how I judge things. Everything always gets set to 10. Then I know where I'm always at in the movie, or in sound, sorry. So yeah, once you get the volume right, it pops. I tell you, it's really good. Sub bass, some scenes get to reference levels, like right at the end. There's a scene. I think they're getting sucked into, I don't know. This movie's crazy. They're getting sucked into some vortex or something like that, and the bass just goes out of control. So yeah, it was slamming the subs. It uses heights, surrounds, and everything, but it doesn't abuse it. It just uses it when needed, and things like that. And the sound quality is just absolutely incredible. Really, just ultra high quality sound. The recording quality for their voices as well. Amazing. Amazing. So yeah, this is going to give your display a workout, and it's going to give you surround sound system a workout. So yeah, that's basically what it said on Reddit. I've always post my full reviews on Reddit, like my full opinions. Some social media platforms only allow you to post a certain amount of things, so you know, Reddit, I can always write whatever I want to write, and it's always there. So if you want to always see my full review, it's always on Reddit. You know, I can write as much as I want here. So yeah, screenshots. Okay, let's just get into it. So the only reason I took this shot is because it is displaying this new and old animated style. So when I first watched this, I was like, is this art? Sorry, that's where my camera is. Let's go this side. I was like, is this artifacts here? Is this breaking down, and things like that? I don't know what you can see on YouTube, exactly what you can see, but I was like, whoa, this looks as though it's breaking down. And at first, that's what I thought. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? It's actually the art style. Right now, we're in a transition between, say, an old art style. This is obviously modern, obviously, but it's mixing that modern and low texture, I guess you could say, of old animation with new. And sometimes it takes a little while to get used to that idea. But I wanted to show you this. I've got a few other shots as well, like showcasing that. I guess if you've seen, there's a game, World of Warcraft, and they have like an animated series. A lot of the times they use that art style as well. It's very similar to that. So, bang. I mean, look at this. The colors just pop at you. It's just incredible. I've never seen animation look this good, ever. This is the best animation I've ever seen. From a visual standpoint, there is nothing that can compete with this. You've got detail on his hat. You can see it's like woven. It's just insane amounts of detail. And another thing, this isn't a disc that hides brightness in any way. It just bang pops right at you. This is an incredibly bright disc, and thank God, because lately I've seen nothing but dark discs from certain companies being released. Don't need to say who they are, but they're great. Things are just graded too dark. This translates into HDR perfectly.
This is what I want to see. I want to see bright discs. Not all the time. Not when it's not need. You know, if it's not needed, then it's not needed. But I just don't want anything to look as though it's just too dark for no reason on HDR. But this doesn't suffer from any of that. And you can see with these screenshots, I mean, just completely gorgeous shot. Just grabbing a few motion shots. Wanted to see if there was anything, going on in backgrounds here and things like that. There isn't. Again, just great lighting, all of the time. All of the time, just great lighting. So, mixing of new and old, right? It's if you see, I know my camera says so let's not go too far there, but this style, it almost looks as though it's breaking down into artifacts. It's not. This is not. There's no breakdown here. This is not a breakdown. This is that old. Imagine a shot transitioning from modern animation to low res texture, low res texture, low res texture until it almost looks flat like old animation style, like back in the 90s. That's kind of what we have here. And again, look in the clouds. We're having this type of look. Well, where at first I was like, whoa, what am I seeing here? I had to double check myself about what this really is, but that is the style, and I love it. I love the mixing of the two. It just feels a little bit more organic of an animation, like an old cartoon used to feel. Couple of shots here, yeah. All right, so a couple of shots here. I wanted to just check these out just to make sure and things. Skies are an incredible area to see bit depth, and yeah, you have none, right? Or bit depth errors, right? There's none. It fades from the sunlight to blue. It's perfect. It fades down perfectly. There's nothing going on here. There's no banding. There's no bands of light or nothing. Perfect bit depth for an animation as well, and obviously digital. Digital generally I found that they find this difficult. It's perfect. Look at this. There's a sun here. If my camera is getting in the way, there's sun. And again, we've got a color. The fade of this sky is perfect. No bands. Again, though, with this shot, this is a fast shot, and the roofing here, they're kind of mixing with old animation. When the cameras speed up and you lose that sense of things around you, they adopt almost this old animation style mixed with new, and I think that looks incredible. I love that. I just love the mixing of this. Really, really good. Again, nice brightness, excellent, really bright scene. I mean, look at this. That's just gorgeous. That is a gorgeous shot. Hyper focused on the main character, with things out of focus here, and the background's obviously out of focus and things. There's probably a movement blur here as well. We're coming at you and things, but just really, really good. Again, look at this hat. Look how much detail is here. You know, it could be suede. I think I said woven earlier. This is probably a suede hat, where when you touch suede, you can see all that detail there. Never seen this before on an animation. I haven't. I've never seen this type of detail. It's never looked this clear, this colourful. Incredible. Popping brightness. Just oozing brightness in this scene. Incredible colour, everything, the detail. And again, I love shots with real cameras when we have this type of look. Hyper focused on characters themselves, the backgrounds just dropped out. We might even be going for a different art style at the back here. Not really too sure. But because there is no mixing, you can just always see different things going on. Yeah. Well, one thing with this movie, it was difficult to stop taking screenshots of this movie because every single shot looked good. I was just going through it and I was like, oh my god. I was like, how many pictures am I going to have to take here? But I could have took pictures of almost every frame. It was that good. Old art style here, or even if it is an old art style, it's just hyper detailed that I'm not used to this level of detail. If you think back to the old days of Toy Story when this modern animation started, right, with Toy Story, and textures were always flat, right, just cupboards had maybe some woven wooden look to them. You didn't have this type of mixing of this type of art. Incredible. You've got so much detail even in the walls, and there's differences in parts of walls, you know. I saw this and I was like, wow. Just wow. This is a HDR demo disc. Superb. I mean, I said it is a little soft, but it just captures incredible detail here. Lighting. Whoever did this, like, I know, and it was released by DreamWorks, but whoever was in charge of just the way the movie looks itself and the way it was colored, I'm telling you, they deserve an award for this. This is next level for me. Next level animation. So this was 2022. When was Toy Story? 2001? 2000, around, or was it 90s? I can't remember. Anyway, this is pushed it into a completely different level. Like we had our 2010s, right, of modern animation, and I thought everything still looked flat. Just I don't know. I didn't like the look. I like the look of this. This is, now we've moved into modern animation. This is the look that I really like. It's incredible. Even the scenes that don't have high APL or high brightness, like just this average brightness down here, it's still bright. It's still bright. You know, there's no crushing of detail or black levels or anything like that. We never get that low, and this is what I like. I don't want HDR movies to go too low, where you're like, I think I have to increase the brightness here. I have to do something because I can't see. You had none of that on this disc. This was a funny scene with him drinking the milk. It's this movie is hilarious. It's like this is my humor. If I had a humor, this is it. It's just funny, really funny movie. Right, now this is a perfect example of that old animation style. Like you can imagine this like with a character maybe jumping over here to another part, and it being instead of 24 framed animation, it might go to 12. You know, the kind of judders along. It's like that. It mixes those two. I found this shot and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is that look that they constantly go for. Yeah, gorgeous shot. It has a depth of field too. You know, there's a depth of field with this, with the way they're controlling focus of everything. It's just gorgeously done. Yeah, excellent. Had to get this one. Some of these scenes they just look good. I could just watch them over and over again because I just enjoy high quality stuff. Just good color, good use of HDR, good detail, and again, this is next generation animation. This is compared to some others that I saw last year, and even maybe one from Disney this year. Didn't have this. It couldn't even compare to this level of color, this detail. And again, so there's no noise in the backgrounds of these shots. Nothing. There's no movement. It's because there's no film grain, it makes it easier to transfer to 4K. You can get away with, you can almost get away with murder when you don't have film grain to encode on top of the image itself as well. Like I said, I've said in a few other videos, but your bit rates can go down by about 30% when you don't have film grain and achieve the same level of quality. And I don't think the disc is big either. I think they got this on a 66 gig disc. Looked great. They didn't need 100. I would have probably forced a 100 gig disc if it was me, really push it. But what is visually going to change between something that, say, I could do and these guys have put out with 20 more megabits per second? I don't think you could have got anything more out of this. So, again, gorgeous shot. Really, really good. Just good color. And this one, when we got to this scene, I was like, whew. The greens and the colors and just this whole environment, there's just so much light and vibrancy to these shots, These colors, they're lush, something that I've been missing from animated movies on 4K, apart from a few, but to have this lush color, really just really impressive. Again, look at this, just brightness and color. And if you want to see a HDR demo disc, I'm telling you, this is definitely it. So how many more screenshots do we have? I'm not too sure, but we'll keep going through these really quick. And but it's texture wise, right? Look at this branch or this piece of wood down here. In the old days of, say, Shrek, and things like that, you don't have this. It wasn't possible to do this. Look at this. And this is random. It's not like, hey, there's a sequence between this point and we'll repeat it. This is all random. This is all random art that's being applied to this piece of wood, and that's what you have. It just looks more natural. These environments like this. Again, gorgeous lighting and incredible. Some of these shots, they're amazing. Color again oozes off the screen. I'm not seeing any faded bit depth errors, banding or anything with this light from where it changes from another to another color or anything like that. Now the reason I put this shot on is because this is about as dark as we go. We're in there's no sun, we're all fogged over and everything like that. But they've kept the brightness up to probably mid-level, right? Instead of bringing the color and grading everything all dark and dingy all the way down here, you've still got that look. You still achieve that, but it's in this movie's color palette to keep it looking a certain way. I appreciate that personally. I really do. A lot of shots here mix new and old with this guy. He's whizzing around the screen, and textures drop to go to more low. You could say low res textures. That with the old style. But yeah, look really good. Had to get this shot. Had to get this shot. Just perfect shot. Look at that. Gorgeous color. Everything. Sparkles on the water here. What a disc. Visually, what a disc. Good lord, it's just incredible. So yeah, that's it. That's the screenshots right there.
So quickly, the audio, right? Audio, I've already talked about it, but so bass, it gives you huge bass slam most of the time. There's always something going on in most scenes that require the subwoofer to just slam, slam, slam. It just didn't hold back. And right at the end, just massive, massive sub bass, like huge, in the scenes. So I think the use of things just whizzing and moving past the screen in Dolby Atmos is I thought it's mixed absolutely perfectly. It wasn't like I've heard mixes where, you know, the surrounds are too loud. It's almost like it's taking away from the detail and the movie itself by listening to this. But this was mixed perfectly. There's no harshness either. This typically goes with maybe older movies and things like that, especially 80s, maybe some 90s and things like that, where things can actually sound harsh. But with this level of quality, there's none of that. It's soft. It's just ultra high quality. I couldn't floor it. It's just that good. Again, I mean, how many more times do you want me to emphasize this? If you want to see HDR from a digital animation, and you just want something to look at and think, that's what HDR, that's what animated digital HDR looks like. This is it. Brightness, color, everything, bit depth, it has it. Guess what? HDR10 didn't have Dolby Vision. It didn't have Dolby Vision either. And it had perfect bit depth. And on my display, the LG C9, none of the whites clipped, nothing crushed. They got it right. I inspected the nits. The nits was in a 1000 nit container, but the actual brightness level only went up to like 935 nits. Now, I don't know if that made a difference with me not seeing any clipping or any clipping of the whites whatsoever. It's possible. But yeah, just looked perfect. So so that's my thoughts on this movie. If you are a fan of picture quality in any way, whether it is from film, digital animation, doesn't matter. If you are a fan of that type of thing, and you always look for the highest quality thing possible, even if you bought this just as a demo disc, you know, and you were like, look, I don't really like the movie, to be fair, you know, I would still buy it. I thought it was a great movie. I think it's a great movie for the family, and even for adults too. I think the humor in this movie is it really is funny. So I can't really recommend this movie any more than I am right now. But this has to be on my top 10 list of 2023. It's going to be. I know there's a long year left. I mean, typically I do a top 10, so there's a lot of good stuff come out this year already, and I'm like, wow, I'm maybe into 4 and 5 already this year that have been very, very good, that would appear on my top 10. I can't imagine a world where this doesn't appear on the top 10. Is 100% the best animation I've seen, again in terms of quality. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this review. If you haven't seen it yet, I strongly encourage you to see it, especially on 4K in HDR. That's how this movie is meant to be watched. Definitely. So yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah, thanks for watching. Okay, bye.